you related to Mitchell Slaughter when I'm just trying to like sell something on the group?
Like, no.
No.
No, I'm not, but
Will you
God.
buy this if I am?
Exactly.
In that case, that's my brother.
That's my brother. It's crazy. What's going on, guys? And welcome back to the Edison Club podcast. I'm your host, Mike, joined tonight by my co-host, Austin Deckard, aka Enraged Peacock.
Yo, yo.
As well as Mitchell Slaughter. I'm sorry, Ethan Slaughter.
What's up?
And tonight's guest is the legendary Ruxin. Ruxin, what's going on, man? Thank you for being here with us.
How's it going? I'm excited.
We've had this one on the books for a little while. Once again, shout outs to Enraged Peacock for being the director of communications and getting all of these lined up. We've had some very incredible guests on the show lately, and just want to give a big shout outs to Enraged. So give yourself a pat on the back, Enraged.
Well, thank you. I
Well
tried.
done. Well done.
So
Chatting.
tonight's podcast episode is going to look a little bit different because I'm actually going to be handing the reins over to Enraged and let him lead the show. If you're a new listener to the channel, I am having my first child here in about a month. So I'm going to be absent from the show for a little while until I get everything adjusted to my new schedule and all of that. So putting my full faith in Enraged and his abilities. So without further ado, Enraged, kick us off here.
All right. So for some reason, if you've ever been on like Yu-Gi-Oh YouTube and you've not heard of the Ruxin 34, I don't know how you're listening to this podcast, but Ruxin, it's great to have you, man. I've been a long time fan. Like, I think I found you pre-COVID whenever you did the first video with the old school expert where you're I think that was whenever I first ever saw you. So if somehow someone doesn't know who you are, go ahead and just give a little introduction, who you are, where they can find you, and what all you do.
I am, as you said, my name is Ruxin34 on YouTube and all the other platforms, TikTok and Twitter, X, whatever it's called these days. That's where you can find me. That's what I go by. And I do Yu-Gi-Oh card content for the most part and some stuff in Master Duel and stuff like that. Edison, it's Edison podcast, I guess. So do some Edison. Wheeled Edison's been a lot of fun. So yeah, that's basically, it's a general overview, but there's a lot more we can get into, throughout the podcast. But yeah.
Banless reaction special.
Yeah. Don't forget about the banless reactions. Very important. Yes.
Time YCS champion.
Yes, and I how could I forget all the tournaments I've won? Yeah, of course.
So earlier we did prepare a whole bunch of random questions and different things. So we'll just kind of keep how we normally do. The first thing we usually ask is, how did you get into Yu-Gi-Oh? And then how did you actually get into Yu-Gi tubing?
I got into Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day, like when it first released in North America. So it was like 2002-ish. I don't have the best timeline for exactly when everything was, but I'm like 99% sure it was in 2002 just because of the rage. Everybody was into Yu-Gi-Oh at the time, whether it was at school, at church, wherever I went. And then, of course, I did end up, I've mentioned this on my channel many times, but I ended up pulling a Millennium Shield, and that came out in 2002. So I had a lot of the early stuff like Play on the Playground, Rubber Band Around Your Cards, Starter Deck Yugi, Starter Deck Pegasus, all that really cool stuff. And so I was in the weeds at the very beginning. So that's how I got into it.
And that's exactly like how I found your channel. It was pre-COVID. I wasn't even playing the game. I still had some cards. And so one of my friends was like, hey, watch this. This guy's opening up some old cards. He's like, you should watch this. And it was like, I think the first video I ever saw was your first Ed Pharaoh servant, like Jinzo pool. And
oh yeah.
And I just kept kind of just watching periodically because I was like, he's opening stuff that I haven't seen in like forever. And then it kind of extrapolated from there. So that was my first time seeing you. Ethan, when was the first time you ever ran into Ruxin or knew of Ruxin or seen him?
It was, I believe you were opening like a Magician's Force booster. I can't remember like what year that it was, but
was it the first edition one that I got killed on?
Yes.
That was 2021, I think. That was one of the worst openings I've ever done in terms of like actual return on what I got. So I definitely remember that one vividly. I think it was April 2021, actually.
That was actually one of my questions was going to be like, what was your most painful Ruxin special or the worst pull you ever had on video? I feel like
Oh,
that
well,
probably
that's
is up there.
easy because you've already brought it up. The
Yeah.
worst, so it's not just that opening. In one weekend, I bought Cybernetic Revolution First Edition Hobby and that Magician's Force. Well, I bought it at different times, but I got them on the weekend and I recorded those two videos back to back days. It was like Friday and Saturday, I think. And they were both horrible. Like the Magician's Force was like $15,000 or something. I think it was like $15,500 actually. And I pulled like I think it was $200 in foils, and none of them could be graded. So it was like there was no way for them to get more expensive. I actually sold the full common lot and rare lot from the box for triple that amount. I sold $600 for all the foils and rare, or not the non-foils and rares. So that's how bad the pulls were. It was
Oh
completely
my
terrible.
god.
And then Cybernetic Revolution was hobby box. That was like $4,600. So it was basically like $20,000, and I pulled like it was like I think a UFO Roid box and then something else, some other terrible ultis, and I don't even know if I got an ultra. So that weekend I was like depressed. It was like a week. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know how much longer I can open packs. Like this is
I
so
don't think
bad.
Yu-Gi-Oh's for me. I think I'm out, guys.
Bro, old
I was
packs
like
are so
20,000. I'm
random.
never doing this again. This is so bad.
I remember, like, so I've never been one to really buy sealed product, but I did buy one of the Light of Destruction boxes when they re-released the set. And I was so happy. I get it home and I opened up all the packs. And I'm like, man, old Yu-Gi-Oh sets are so bad. Like, you may just not get anything. Like, because I've never
Yeah, you
really
open a
opened
box,
stuff like that.
yeah, you might literally get nothing, and that's kind of the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, I
Especially
literally
when the
got
box is
nothing.
crazy expensive, and you're like, well, this is fun.
Yeah,
You know?
and I was disappointed over $18. So I can't even imagine how you felt with yours.
Yeah, that was by far the worst. I mean, I pretty much haven't had any other that bad where there's been bad ones, but I at least would get something cool. And usually they're not that expensive. Like that Magician's Force box, I think is the most expensive box well, besides Legend of Blue Eyes, the second one, the most I paid and then opened. So it had that going for it, that it was really expensive to begin with, and then like you kind of have to get the Dark Magician Girl, and we didn't. So it just didn't work out very well.
Speaking of the Dark Magician Girls, I think another one that probably be pretty high on your list for like quote failed Ruxin specials was the damaged Dark Magician Girl out of the.
I was just
Yeah.
about to say, bro, the pain in my face when I
Yeah,
saw that happen.
the good side about that is I got a Dark Magician Girl, so it's like I at least pulled it. But like the fact that it's like as soon as I saw it, because it was like the worst damage corner I've ever seen. I'm like,
Well, you called it. You were like, please don't be the DMG.
yeah. Well,
Please.
as soon as I saw that corner, I thought, oh my gosh, I've never seen a corner this damaged in a pack. And I'm like, there's no way this is like that. Like, even if it's a foil, it's gonna suck, but there's no way it's a Dark Magician Girl. And then somehow it is. I actually got a comment about on that video like a week ago. Like, and the person's like, as soon as I saw that him call it, I knew it was fake. And I'm like, it's not. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I was just depressed as soon as it happened. I'm like, that's what made it so crazy, is the fact that I was like, I spoke it into existence. Like, this happens on Twitch all the
Yes.
time when I'm playing like Pokemon and stuff. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
look, as long as they don't crit right here, we're good. And then we're immediately dead. So it's like, it
Yeah.
happens every time. So I actually spoke that into existence, and then we pulled the Dark Magician Girl. But the good side was we pulled a Dark Magician Girl. So it was pretty cool. But the bad side was, of course, it was like destroyed. So I still kept that card because of that moment.
Exactly. I also think like my favorite comment I've ever seen as like the running bit on the channel was you talk too much in your videos.
That
Oh my
comes up a
God.
lot, actually. I get that comment and I get the email. Like, I got two separate emails. It's probably the same person, honestly. But they wrote like a novel about how I talk too much. And I'm like, this is kind of ironic, like how much you typed to say that I talk too much. Yeah, that has gone on for a while. I do talk a lot, but it's like, yeah, that's kind of the point. Like, what do you want me to say? It's not an ASMR channel, you know what I'm saying?
I think that's why we vibe so well because as in case you can't tell, I yap a lot, just usually through chat. So
Right.
it takes one to know one.
Right. I mean, yeah, you just gotta have fun.
Exactly. I guess we should also provide a little bit of context. So, like, we're titling this episode the Ruxin Special. So, for those who don't know, let's explain the Ruxin Special, the Super Ruxin Special, and the Ultra Ruxin Special.
Okay, well, this will be good, so I have somewhere to reference what it is when people ask. The Ruxin Special is when you're going through a pack. So a lot of times I'll do the pack trick. I'll take the 3 or 4 cards at the back, put them to the front, so the rare's in the back. And the Ruxin Special tends to happen quite a lot when you do that. And the regular Ruxin special is when you're trying to go to the next card, but you accidentally pull 2 cards and go to the 3rd card or whatever it is, whatever situation you are in the pack. The Super Ruxin special is when you pull like 3 or 4 cards and end up way far into the pack. And then the Ultra Ruxin special is when you do the pack trick and accidentally put the rare in the front, which I did with the Strike of Neos, Air Neos, the first time I pulled it, and just put it right to the front, turned it around, and there it was. So that's basically Ruxin special means ruining the pack opening, which I do all the time.
I was screaming when you did the Air Neos. I was
like, oh, are you serious? You gotta be kidding me. Just put an ultimate rare Air Neos right to the front. And it kind of makes sense. The Forbidden Yu-Gi-Oh card, I can't find it. All of a sudden, of course, I put it right to the front. And it's just the very first card.
Mike, are you familiar with the Forbidden Yu-Gi-Oh card and what he's referencing? Because that's a pretty fun, fun fact, lore kind of thing that I didn't actually know until I found Ruxin's channel, because I didn't know anything about this, and I found it so fascinating.
Talking about like the Air Neos thing?
Yeah.
So I know that there is like, basically Konami like doesn't admit that card even exists. Like I know they took it out of the artwork for like instant contact. I'd heard people say that like some versions of GX in the show, like they don't have the Air Neos episodes. And I've heard conflicting things. I've heard that like the artist that drew it died and they don't have the rights to it. And I've also heard that there was like an airline called Air Neos and there was like a lawsuit. I don't know what the actual story is behind it.
I don't think anyone does, which is the best part.
I know that the so-called the artist died, etc. That's actually from Blood Mephist, and they kind of just copied and pasted that on.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think that one is about Air Neos, but I know that's about Blood Mephist at least.
Yeah, I was looking into making a video about that. Like coming up, because I know they're not going to reprint it in Bonanza, and all these people on Twitter think they are. So I'm gonna get ready. So as soon as they don't reprint it, I'll post the video, and then everybody will be like looking into like why it didn't get reprinted. So I actually worked on this for a while, and I was looking up all the different theories and stuff like that. And I was actually trying to get some new information about why, some recent prints people might not know about. So I have some stuff like that I'm gonna post in the video. But there really isn't that much info out there. Like there's all these theories and stuff like that. And then people's reasoning is like, oh, I think somebody else said that. So it's like, that doesn't mean anything. So like you really
just word of mouth.
Yeah, basically 100% word of mouth. I went back all the way to try to find the oldest references, and it just at some point the gossip started and people just all believed it, which happens a lot when some random person makes a video and then they watch it and they're like, yep, that's true 100%, and they never question it. Then everybody else just thinks it.
What if it turned out that there was actually no truth to any of it, and it's just been Konami just like oversight this whole time? They're like, oh, you know what we should do? We should reprint Air Neos.
If they just like stayed off Twitter that long, that would be like pretty impressive. They just
honestly
didn't see anything.
Well, for the longest time, I thought they weren't listening to players at all. Then finally, I started seeing some reprints that I know they had to like look into people's opinions on to actually care about. So I was like, okay, maybe they got like a few moles here and there.
Yeah, that's like the biggest red flag for Air Neos. It's like they have actually been reprinting stuff that needs reprinting and like that people want. And the fact that they haven't done it for so long, when people have been wanting for this wanting it for so long, then that's kind of the biggest red flag versus the airline or whatever the other reason is. I'd probably lean more toward, oh, they just aren't reprinting this for a certain reason versus it's not possible because this airline in Italy can't allow it or whatever.
There was this random like short period of time where Modern Heroes, there was like slight justification to playing Air Neos, basically because you could Neos Fusion OTK through Wind Barrier Statue against Floowandereeze, and I was playing Heroes, so I was like, oh, this card's super old, it's a Neospatian card, it's probably not expensive, so I look it up and I'm like, why is this card over $100? That's when I started looking into like all the theories and everything, and I was like, well, I'm not playing this variant, I guess.
Let me find another way to beat this.
So back in the day, one of my really good local friends, Conway, shout out to Conway, he had this idea where we had a bunch of like little kids at our like local, and we'd have our binders full of like our good stuff, and little kids don't know how to handle cards properly, so we had what we called a decoy binder, where you'd hand it to them and you would trade them like elemental hero stuff from the show, things like that. And then looking back, I'm like, that binder would be worth a small fortune now instead of all the stuff that was meta back then. I was like, oh my goodness, we made a huge mistake in hindsight.
Dude, no, yeah, all right, this is completely unrelated, but the first time I ever bought Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I don't know if you guys know this like little tiny restaurant that's like planted inside of gas stations, but they're usually inside of this gas station called 76 on the lower like southeast coast, and it's called Aunt M's Chicken. They had a spin rack in in the 76 gas station at Aunt M's
This
Chicken.
is so crazy.
And I bought 7 first edition Pegasus starter decks when they first came out when I was a kid, just because I was like, "Oh my god!" And I kept them for like the longest time, but like I got rid of them, and I can't imagine how much money I'd have right now if I had just like, let me just get rid of one and wait 4 years. Let me get rid of another one and then wait 4 years, and then just keep it going.
That's the most early like Yu-Gi-Oh thing I've ever heard. It's like some random chicken place in a gas station just has Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like back then,
Exactly.
everything had Yu-Gi-Oh cards. No matter where you went, they were everywhere.
I've mentioned it before on the podcast, but Kmart had some really cool like
Yes, Kmart
stuff back in the day. But it had like this like octagon shaped thing, and it came with like a really cool black deck box with the Yu-Gi-Oh silver font and the black sleeves with that silver font. And then it had one of each set that was released up to the time. And I'm pretty sure it was like an MJ Holding product, I would assume, based on everything that I've learned from, Ruxin. But it was like a really good third party instead of like like the mystery cube or the chaos cubes they have nowadays. It was actually really like high quality for what it was.
I think I've opened some of those.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've opened some of those recently that somebody randomly had kept sealed. Yeah, those were pretty cool because they usually have like the ones that I've opened at least had like Legend of Blue Eyes and like original packs and stuff like that. So they were pretty sweet.
One of the worst ones I've ever seen was the superconductor Tyranno that comes with like winged rhinos or something. Like it comes with a super rare copy of winged rhinos, a superconductor Tyranno structure deck, and like I actually think it was like a Strike of Neos pack.
Winged Rhinos is the guy. I'm actually a pretty fan of that deck when it comes to Edison. I think it's
it's cool. It's very unique. It's just so random. Me being a kid, I'm like, why couldn't this be like a monarch or something? Like, why is it winged rhinos, dude?
Yeah, they just had a time of their life back in the day. They would just throw anything in for random special editions.
Dude, I remember going to Kmart in like 2015 and finding a Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus 10 at Kmart, and I opened it like an idiot. I tell that story sometimes. I really wish I hadn't have opened it, but it was there in like 2015. However many years after that had come out, it was still at Kmart.
Yeah, that's like 8 years later. That's actually insane.
Even me back then, I was like, did this just get like knocked over in like the back of the store somewhere, like in the warehouse area? And they were just like, oh, this is supposed to go on the shelf here, $20.
It's just covered in mold and dust in the back, just like awaiting its day to finally be open.
Like, have you guys seen the Leonhardt's video about that base set 2-pack that was like a couple years ago?
Yes,
but they found like a base set 2-pack like 25 yeers later or something. I was like, what? How did they never clean under the shelves for 25 years? That's disgusting.
Speaking of Kmart, I pulled my first ever Ghost Rare at Kmart, a Majestic Star Dragon, right out of a Kmart pack.
That's insane.
Nice.
What was your first Ghost Rare?
My first Ghost Rare was I bought 2 cases of Secrets of Eternity because they were like $300 for a case, just so I would get a Ghost Rare. And I pulled the Malakota or whatever it's called. It's a ritual. I think it might be a Burning Abyss card.
Oh, the Burning Abyss card. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was like a $19 Ghost Rare, but I did it just so I could pull a Ghost Rare because I'd never pulled one before.
I pulled one, guys. I pulled one.
I pulled it and I was like, sweet. Now what do I do with all these Secrets of Eternity boxes?
Austin, you were saying something.
Oh no, there's nothing important. What I was gonna say was just how talking about like found packs. So that's how we felt at Nats. Whenever they handed us our entry packs, they handed us Duelist Nexus. I'm like, why? I was like, is this like something you still see on the shelf? It's still sitting on shelves at Walmart at the time last year. And I was like, Duelist Nexus was like already old at that point, and like the point of old where it wasn't good. So I'm like, I don't know.
Dude, I'll tell you what's worse than that. At YCS Orlando, you know what we got for entry for Ultimate Time Wizard?
Oh my god.
Genesis Impact. That's what it is, right? The set where Drytrons came out of. That's what we got.
Yes. That's a deck building set, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
When did that come out? Like 2022?
I think so. I saw those and I almost wanted to just leave them on the table because I'm like, the most valuable card I can get for myself out of this is rare bottomless trap hole because I can actually use it. Yeah, I was so disappointed. That's bad. It was terrible. It was terrible. At least like last year at YCS Indy, they gave us whatever pack that Cash Tira stuff came out of, and I pulled a Starlight Arise Heart. Even though it was banned, it was still like $80. So that wasn't nearly as bad as Genesis Impact.
This is gonna blow your mind. Genesis Impact came out October 20th, 2020.
What?
Oh my goodness.
There's no. Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead.
Nobody bought it. That's what they
Bro, they're just doing the Kmart method. Like that crap just got knocked over in the back of the store somewhere. They're like, hey, give that to the Time Wizard players.
That's
Screw them. Modern's more important. We gotta give them the shitty product.
It's so crazy.
They're like, yeah, Modern's more important. You could win a what are those what are those things called that the old people like? You know, you put your food back in there and reheat it. What are those things called? Air fryer. There we go. Those are great though. I have one.
I was so lost. I'm like, what are you talking about? A TV dinner? Like what?
TV dinner?
Well, so I don't think he heard me. I said air fryer, and then there was like 5 seconds that passed, and I was like, I have to say it again, I guess. Air fryer.
No, you cut out or something. I didn't hear it.
You have to say it like an old person. It's the air fryer.
Yeah, you gotta play meta because you can win an air fryer. Okay, it's so much more worth it than Genesis Impact.
Right? Yes, absolutely.
You can get a curling iron next year, I heard.
Dude, I would have taken like a $10 gift card to like the Pizza Hut that was inside the venue over the Genesis Impact packs. Honestly,
you probably could have got like a couple pieces of pizza with that.
Exactly, I could get at least like one.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that brings me to something. Listen, I had this friend in Ohio who would just constantly go to this locals, and they ran out of prize support, so they literally for one night just handed out $10 Panera gift cards for prize support, and I'm like, how? You can't buy anything at Panera for $10.
You can buy a baguette.
Hospital food.
You can't even buy a chicken sandwich for $10 because when I went there and did all the chicken sandwiches one time, it was like $14 because they make you buy the combo. Like you're like, you have to buy the combo. You can't buy it by itself. So it's like $14. So like for a chicken sandwich is insane.
Like it's overpriced. It's overpriced hospital food. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's not great.
I never go there, so I believe you, but I've been at Panera I think one time. I think it's when I was working like in a sales job, and they like took us there for like to cater it or whatever. Like they paid for it, so I was like, sure, I'll have something. It was some sort of like, I think it was a chicken sandwich, but it looked like it would have been expensive. I like for no reason though.
I do like the ambiance at Panera Bread.
Come to the Edison Club channel. We talk about overpriced chicken sandwiches.
They know what they signed up for whenever they put on the video.
Yeah, when I'm on here, you know the chicken sandwiches are going to come up. So, it's really my fault, honestly.
As long as we're not speaking poorly of Sonic Drive-In, because I'm still actively trying to get sponsored by Sonic, which started off as a meme, because me and my friend were always like, hey, let's go to Sonic every Yu-Gi-Oh trip. You know, like, it doesn't matter where we at. Like, let's go to Sonic. And I was like, you know, I'm going to reach out to Sonic, see if I can get sponsored by Sonic. It started out as a meme, but someone from their marketing team was like, we'll be in touch. And I'm like, it's happening. It's happening.
That's so
That's insane.
As a screenshot on a shirt and wear it proudly.
They're probably just going to send me a $10 Sonic card, honestly.
Oh my god!
Like this will get you more than Panera, bro, for sure.
Yeah,
go to happy hour, get some drinks. You know,
that's true, dude. Sonic is broken.
We're gonna
where
banter.
Sonic end up on your chicken sandwich tier list, Ruxin? Whenever you're doing that video, I don't remember where Sonic fell.
Sonic, I feel like it was like a C. It wasn't great in terms of the chicken sandwich.
Are we talking about the chicken slinger?
No, it's just like the standard chicken sandwich. We try to do like the basic one, you know, the most basic one. That's kind of like every other one. But this was like 2 years ago, so I'm trying to remember exactly. I don't think it was that great though, unfortunately.
But see, if we were doing like a mozzarella stick like tier list,
yeah, that would be good.
Cut ahead because they actually have like herbs and spices in it, unlike Arby's or other mozzarella stick places. So
yeah, their sides are legendary.
They used to have these things called like, what were they called? Like chicken. It was like in 2017, they had these little chicken sandwiches and my wife loved them and they took them away after a couple months and she's brought it up like every other week since then.
Oh my gosh,
they've never brought them back. So Sonic, whatever those things were called, chicken minis, chicken littles.
I believe those were the mini
Little
chicken
chickies,
slingers.
little chickies. That's what they were
Chickies,
called.
that's it.
Oh, I
Yes.
think I remember seeing the commercials for those. They looked good, but I never got to try them because our Sonic closed.
Well, that was their comeback. They came back in 2020 with the chicken slingers, and they were like, "It's back. It's the same thing." I'm like, it's good, but it's not the same.
Yeah, no, yeah, I actually remember that because we went and Chelsea tried them. She's like, these are not little chickies. They're different. Like, I don't like them. I don't like them the same. She's like, we got to bring back little chickies. They're way better. So, Sonic, come on, since you're sponsoring this podcast, let's go. Bring them back.
Oh my God, bro.
I only want to be sponsored by Sonic if you guys bring back the little chickies. If not, I don't want it.
Otherwise, they're not accepting your sponsorship. I'm speaking for them right now.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna banter away all of our time for questions.
Wait, questions? We're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh? Wait, what are we doing here?
I was about to go on a rant about KFC personally because while we're on the topic of chicken, I just want to quickly throw this in there. I went to KFC for 2 items: popcorn chicken and potato wedges, and they got rid of both. And now I hate it. The only good thing they had 2 good things going for them. They tried to do like chicken sandwich in between 2 donuts, and I was like, this is why like other countries laugh at us, like and call us fat. But like, why could we have that but not the popcorn chicken?
Bro, they saw that you were coming, and they were like, "Dude, it's Edison Club Mike. You gotta take everything he likes off the menu."
That's true.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been there for anything that I might like. So
I don't really go anymore, unfortunately. That was all I liked from there.
They ruined it for you. So I mean,
they did.
One of your biggest supporters.
I'm not reaching out to them for a sponsorship.
Yeah, sorry,
that's why.
KFC. Even if you wanted to, they'd say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Create the demand, Mike. Play hard to get.
Yeah.
Ruxin, Austin actually came up with this question, and I love it so much because I've never really heard you talk about it that much. But
okay.
He said, what are your top 5 cards in your collection? Like your favorite top 5 cards?
Oh, yeah, I saw this like when you sent it a couple minutes before, and I'm like, oh, what are my top 5 cards? Definitely Blue Eye Shining Dragon, the one we pulled.
Oh yeah, yes. Dude,
probably,
that Retro Pack 2 secret is
yeah, 2020 or something. I don't remember exactly when that was, but all I remember is that Chelsea was mad at me because I didn't get down in time for dinner. So I was like, I pulled a Blue Eye Shining Dragon. She's like, you're late. And I was like, oh, okay. So that one was amazing. It's such a nice looking card. Definitely one of my top 5 in my collection. A lot of them have to do with just sort of moments. So like the Blue Eyes, probably LOB First Dead that was pulled on Whatnot.
We have to explain that story real quick too, because I don't know if Mike has seen that, but it's one of the I was there for that live Whatnot stream, and it was the craziest story. Like it was so surreal to see it. The guy who commented something about like, oh, it's pre-watched, fake, whatever. Like this seemed like a fake moment. It was so
it did. If it wasn't live. Yeah, so that one because of the story. So the story behind that Legend of Blue Eyes First Edition is we're on Whatnot, so we're selling packs 1 by 1. You know, there's no pre-sale or anything. So people are buying them, opening them up, see what we get. Then you go to the next thing. So there's one guy that pays, and a lot of time on these expensive box breaks, they'll have like an issue because it's like $1,000 pack or something. So then it doesn't go through. So we sit there, we're like, all right, let's give him a second because you know the banks are probably like, what's going on? Why are you spending this much on Yu-Gi-Oh cards? And so we wait, it doesn't go through, and eventually we're like, all right, we got to move on. So we'll move on. We waited and left that guy's pack to the side. We're like, we'll leave it to the side. If he comes back, he can have the same pack that he was going to get. So maybe 5 or 6 packs later, I'm like, all right, he's not showing up. So let's put the pack back in the box and let's keep going. The next person buys it, and also it doesn't go through. So then we take that same pack, we put it to the side. A few packs later, all right, he's not showing up. I guess we're just gonna have to, do it again. So we finally put it back. We're on like pack 12 or 13 of the box. This would have been one of the first couple packs of the entire box. The next person gets it, and of course the Blue Eyes is in there. So then the guy gets it, the other 2 people, like, they could have had it, but they didn't pay for their pack. So then somebody else got it. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. So then, of course, he gets the pack. The guy tries to give me the card. I'm like, absolutely not. You're not giving me the card. Way too expensive. So then later he comes back to me and he's like selling his collection. He's like, yeah, and the Blue Eyes, you can buy it back from me since you didn't want me to give it to. So I ended up buying it back from him. So I ended up with the Blue Eyes, which was really cool. So that's definitely in the top 5 as well. One of the crazier things that's happened on like a break because like multiple other people could have had it and they didn't pay for it.
Yeah,
So
I heard about it like 5 days after it happened, and I was like, I wish I could have saw this happen.
live people were going nuts.
I
They were
was
like,
going
it's got to
crazy.
be in there. It's got to be in there. And then it was.
He even lets the like people in chat. He's like, all right, do you want left or right? Left or right? He let the chat kind of pick which side of the box
Yeah.
we're coming from next. So it was like completely random, you know, like okay, 3 people said right, we'll go right, and then it was like left, left, left. We went left, and then it was just oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Whenever it opened it, like we even did the slow reveal. We're like, oh, it's a vanilla monster, and then oh my gosh, like.
And
It was-
at the same time, I think Dark Magician was pulled at the very beginning. So if that
Yes.
hadn't happened, we might have pulled Dark Magician and Blue Eyes in like the first 2 packs, which would have been bad for me on the
Oh
box
my
break.
god.
So it
Yeah.
worked out really well for me that it waited for so long. So thank
Dude.
you to those people who didn't pay because I probably would have gotten destroyed on that box. So because both ultras pulled, it's like okay, like we might get a third, but probably not. So it actually worked out pretty good for me, and then not so well for those other 2 guys who didn't pay for it, but. It was really, really cool. So that's got to be okay. That's top 2. I'll be trying to think of 3 more for the top 5. Definitely Blue Eyes Shining. Definitely the Blue Eyes. Meiji, I don't know if it makes top 5, but having that card that we pulled, I got that one back as well. The guy gave it to me, which I accepted this one. I was like, all right, sure. I think I ended up sending him some booster boxes and stuff, but I was like, this is a pretty cool one for all the giant series we went through trying to pull that. The Rainbow Dragon's a big one too. Ghoster I pulled. Out of random packs, by the way. Those weren't out of a box, which was insane. And then probably, I mean, my Millennium Shield PSA 10 that I finally graded, I graded a bunch of them, and I was like, I'm not going to buy a PSA 10. It's not that expensive. I'm going to grade until I get one. So that was a pretty cool one, too, because I finally did end up grading it after, like, trying 6 or 7 of them. So that's probably, maybe not my top 5, but at least 5 that I really like.
Last year I made a joke and I was like, GTA 6 is gonna come out before he pulls this Magia. And then you did it, and I was like, oh my god, Rockstar, what are you doing, dude? Ruxin pulled a Magia and GTA 6 is still not out, dude.
Yeah, they were slacking for sure if they didn't beat me pulling that, because that took months. It took literal months. It was crazy.
How many packs?
I think it was 3,000. Was it 3,600? I think it was 34 or 3,600. I can't remember, but it was somewhere around there. It was a crazy amount over ratio.
I would have my patience. I just couldn't. That would
My patience would be over
really
after the
got
first
bad when
10.
Yeah, it really got bad when I ran out of the packs that I had bought, like when it came out, because then the boxes were getting more expensive. So I was spending like even more like than they used to cost. So it was really hurting having to buy more. And luckily I didn't have to do that too long. But I was like, oh, I'm about to spend so much money pulling this thing. This is insane.
Before Magia, was Scapegoat the biggest search, like for the longest it took, or was it the Exodia set?
It was actually the Stardust, the Starlight Stardust. But that was one of the.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it was
Yes,
21. Yeah,
yeah.
that was a long time ago for that one. But that didn't feel as long because we did a giant stream of like 10 cases, and then I did one more stream. So it was only 2 streams. It wasn't like 30 videos, so it didn't
It
feel
was like a 10-hour stream, if I remember right.
The first one was really long. I don't remember how long exactly. I think Lewis Vintage Yu-Gi-Oh was there to help me, so it went a lot faster.
Yeah.
But that one was one of the longest streams. And then the Exodia set was similar, where we didn't finish the set live, and then we did another stream and pulled it immediately. Yeah.
Like
Like,
4 sets before you got the first one. It was like you get like all the missing parts, but you couldn't get like the final full set until it was like
Right.
the end.
Yeah, that was actually a lot of fun because you had to get multiple pieces. Except for the fact that I didn't, pull all the cards. I had to do it again, but it was cool to like not just like pull it once, then it was over. You got to like do it like you'd pull this one, not get repeats and stuff.
The first Rarity collection was also a lot of fun to watch the complete set of it, having to go back through and double, triple check, and I remember that was a really fun stream I was a part of. I was also part of the stream where what was it? They had like a Monster Reborn or in a random pack.
Yeah.
Wasn't that in that set?
Yes, that was the, let me get this right. I believe it was Shining Victories, I think. We opened a bunch of Shining Victories. It was some 2016 set. I think it was Shining Victories. And I just got the packs really cheap, and I'm like, let's just try to pull some cool Blue Eye stuff. It wasn't really like a big like chase or anything. And then randomly there was a Monster Reborn from
like a starter.
It was like it was some set like that came out like a few months before, like in the timeline. So some random card was in the Shining Victories, box that it was a 100 pack like tournament box or whatever. If you've seen those white boxes that just have like 100 packs.
Yes. Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was sealed and it was in a sealed pack. So it was like, this wouldn't be a reseal. You know, nobody would reseal a random common in there. It wasn't like an expensive one. It was just a common Monster Reborn. And the chat was like, go back. There's a Monster Reborn. And I'm like, guys, there's not a Monster Reborn in this set. Like, stop messing with me. Like, I know you're not being serious.
You're gaslighting
so, like,
me. You're gaslighting
no, seriously.
me,
I was like, they're gaslighting me. They do this all the time. I'm like, I don't believe them. And then everybody's like, dude, there's a Monster Reborn back there. You got to go back. And I'm like, okay. So I went back and went through the cards, and all of a sudden there's a Monster Reborn. I'm like, where did this come from? It was, what set was it? It might have been a starter deck or something. It was some sort of deck or something like that, that it was just randomly inserted. So it was some kind of packaging error or something. One of the crazier errors, like to have a card from another set in there. It's the only time I think it's happened.
Dude, yeah, it was wild when I saw it. I was like, oh my god, Konami literally says send him the bamboozler box. Like that's
They're like, just how do we confuse this guy? How do we put a random card in here that doesn't fit at all?
Usually, like nowadays, you'll make shorts of like this random error pack, you know, or something crazy. But this was like just a one-off random common that in the common slot. So that's how you like missed it too. It was so bizarre because it was like just literally just a quality control, silly hindsight. But I remember a few of the really cool error packs that you've had where it's, you know, like you get 30 like 2 Dark Horse level 8 or something out of the Phantom Darkness. But yeah, that was just some random common thrown in. It was one of those randomest things I've like ever experienced. It was cool to always experience like that kind of stuff live. So if you don't check out the live streams, you should definitely check out the live stream because it's a whole different vibe. It's so fun.
Yeah,
the atmosphere is just awesome.
And the errors are definitely the most exciting part because like it's never in the realm of like what you're expecting. You know, it's like you're like, okay, I could get like the best card or whatever, and like that would be really exciting. You never really consider, oh, but I could get this random card from another set, or I could pull 2 foils in one pack, or like misprint, like totally misprinted, like tilted sideways Appaloosa that we pulled one time. Like you just don't expect any of that stuff. And when it happens, it just totally changes. You're like, whoa, it's insane. I cannot believe this happened, you know? So I love when that stuff happens, especially live, because then the whole chat's just going crazy. Like, what? We were not expecting this, you know?
It's like not like I just got something even rarer than a shiny Pokemon.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like physical too. It's like you have the physical card for it. It's like, this is nuts.
Yeah.
I mentioned in the chat earlier, but I really missed the back in the day, the what is these? Like the old soundbite. I love that. That was so great. That was one of the first things that really had me start watching because like I grew up with the anime, like all the old stuff. So when you have a big hit, like that little soundbite, I was like, oh man, they hit every nostalgia like cue that I wanted. It was so funny.
Yeah, apparently somebody commented the other day during one of the Master Duel videos. Apparently, I unironically just went, "What is this?" Like I was just like reacting, and I was like, "What is this?" or something. And they're like, "Oh wow, there he is."
It's been 84 years.
It's back.
So speaking of Pokemon, I know that's something that you do on the side as well with Yu-Gi-Oh. What is your favorite all-time favorite Pokemon?
People ask this a lot, and I've never really delved into figuring out my favorite. So I kind of always default to Lugia just because I really liked Lugia as a kid and like Silver version and all that stuff. And I still would say it's one of my favorite for sure. But with all the nuzlocking and stuff I've done, there's definitely some that have moved up, like that I've really liked. And with like randomizers and stuff, you use so many new Pokemon. And there's a lot of other ones that I'm a big fan of. So
you're like forced into like different kinds of situations.
And then all of a sudden you're like a huge fan of like when I played Emerald Legacy, all of a sudden Mag Cargo is really cool, even though it sucks normally. But they did like the ROM hack made it good. So all of a sudden I'm like, yes, Mag Cargo is sick. And then if you like play with it for real, it's like this is awful, you know?
Yeah, no, I feel that.
That's how I feel about I think it's called Phalanx. It's like a weird like fighting style Pokemon. And one of the things, because if you guys don't know, whenever he streams on PokeRux on Twitch, he'll name his Pokemon after subscribers. And the Pokemon that I got was Phalanx, and he's put the name as Peacock. And I went through I killed like 2 gyms like solo by it. It was, I didn't know this Pokemon because I don't know a lot of the newer generations, but I ended up pulling a random collector gallery, one of that, and now that's just sitting in my calculator case for you. Because I'm like, if you know, you
Let's
know.
Go. Yeah,
I literally call that Pokemon Gladiator Pac-Man.
Why's that?
Look at what it looks like.
I don't know what it looks like. The collector gallery is like a weird art. I actually couldn't. If you showed it to me like randomly in passing, I probably wouldn't even recognize the Pokemon.
Oh my god, bro! You
No,
need to look at what it looks like. You're gonna be like, whoa, that's
I
like
never heard it
accurate as
before.
hell.
He's like, all right, Peacock, did you get the next Pokemon? Then the random encounter happens, and then you're like, okay, this is Yo's. Like, I have no idea what this is, but I'm about it. Then I randomly.
Here's the problem with nicknaming them is I will forget what the actual name is. So then I'm like, what is this guy called again? You know, I'm trying to like put in the calculator for doing damage calcs. I'm like, what's this thing called? Because the names are all different, you know? So I'm like, what was it again?
Unless you have like the Rock, like was it the Rock? He's on like 22 now, or 19 or 20, some ridiculous number.
Oh yeah, Dwayne. Yeah, so Geodude. Yeah,
Dwayne.
luckily he was Gen 1, so I didn't have a problem with him. But like now I just call him Dwayne. You know, if he's Geodude,
Yeah.
because we've had
Dope.
20 of him. He's died every time.
Yeah.
I sent you a picture on Facebook, Austin.
Let's take a look at this. Oh my goodness, that is.
I know. Going to an Edison related question though, Ruxin.
Okay.
What is your favorite deck to play in Edison?
Okay, this is another one I was thinking about because I don't have a good like one deck answer for this because my current deck that I use and I've like tried to like max rarity. It's not completely done, but it's Diva Hero, and
Yes, my man, bro.
I do like it, but I wouldn't say it's like my number one deck because I play other decks. And I'm like, these decks are really fun too. And so I mean, I like a lot of different decks. I will say I do know my least favorite deck, which is definitely Gladiator Beast. I hate Gladiator Beasts. I hate playing against them.
hater.
I hate playing them. I just do not like them. I faced them 2 weeks in a row in Wheeled Edison. One's not out yet. So I didn't remove them from the wheel because I'm like, well, I want to see different matchups, right? I didn't think I'd face it 2 weeks in a row. So I'm especially hating them a lot the last couple weeks.
My
so
least favorite deck to play against besides
yeah,
like
just summon a Gladiator Beast, set a bunch of cards. And I'm like, great. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have Starlight Road back there. Can't Heavy Storm. Awesome. You know, it's just impossible to get through. There's so much crap.
Let me just summon a Queast and make those 3 War Chariots I run into a 4th copy really quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me have War Chariot, Starlight Road, Dimensional Prison, Bottomless Trap Hole all set. All right. Good luck, buddy. What are you going to do? Nothing.
Let me introduce you to Giant Trunade, activate future fusion reveal 5-headed dragon.
Now that's awesome. Except I don't have Giant Trunade.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah,
that's quality. That's quality content, dude. I think Trunade is so broken. Honestly, I love that it is in that format. I love just running MST heavy Trunade and just like making the space for Trunade.
I like that you're saying this because now I'm like, this is actually really good because then it doesn't get Starlight Roaded. Yeah, I might start doing this in Wheeled Edison because Heavy Storm half the time it gets cooked by Starlight Road, and you're just like,
yeah.
Right.
Trunade is so broken, man. I love that card to death. I mean, I've been playing Diva Hero faithfully for years now, and I say that because like I've had my moments where I'm like, okay, I'm bored. I'm tired of drawing those non-optimal hands and then getting random ones where I like just completely juice my opponent and open like fucking Dark Grepher, Plague, Future Fusion.
You don't like drawing Spined Gilman and Malicious in your first hand or whatever?
Dude, okay, so my favorite actual interaction in Diva Hero is just summoning Gilman when my opponent has 2 back row and it like lives and then I swing and it lives. I'm like, cool. I'm just going to keep swinging until I win because now that I know you're not going to do anything about this, you are going to take this 1700.
Dude, that's like one of the biggest parts of playing Diva Hero.
Outing this card.
Like, how far can one Spine Gilman walk? That's like one of the biggest parts of playing Diva Hero is like, how far can Spine Gilman go? It's like the same equivalent as playing Battle Ox, but
it comes up in so many recurring episodes too. I don't know if you noticed, Mike, but this is like the 3rd or 4th time we've talked about this exact instance.
I know, legend. Spine Gilman, the legend.
I top nationals with Diva Hero, so I've mentioned Gilman quite a bit. He's a very visceral card. He does a lot, but he's also one of the most frustrating cards. But like personally, my favorite thing about Diva Hero is just Special Prodigy sacrifice for Caius going second. You're like, I did not expect that. So now I'm not only
nice. I love that.
You have to deal with the Strato, or you have to deal with a Caius. And then if you have to use your bottomless on, I'm like, well, cool, now my absolute zero is just gonna walk. The deck is super powerful.
I love using Absolute Zero defensively. People think you're always going to swing with it. I love just summoning it in defense and just doing my shit and like being like, okay, you have things on your board, and if you don't want to lose those, you're going to have to leave him alone. So we're going to play my game now.
I don't think I've ever summoned him in defense mode. I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's fun to play him defensively. You need to try it sometime.
That's usually how I treat Stardust. Like I will only attack with a Stardust if there's 0 back row and the board it's not an open board, because I'm like, if there's a back row, I'm like, it's gonna be a deep prison every single time I swing with a Stratos or a Stardust. Sorry, and if it's an open board, I'm not swinging as well, because I'm like, well, now you're just gonna drop a Gorse and kill my Stardust. So Stardust basically just sits there. And I'm like, I'm gonna save this for next game if I can.
Yeah. Ruxin, what is your favorite rarity? Like, out of every single rarity in all of Yu-Gi-Oh, what is your like die-hard favorite?
It's definitely Ghost, but the problem with Ghost is they're not consistent. So you'll say that, and then somebody will have like, you know, a Ghost from the past 2 Ghost, and they'll be like, well, this one doesn't like shine that well or whatever. They don't know that other Ghosts might look better. So it's Ghost on certain cards like Starlight, Black Rose, or Stardust, sorry, Stardust, Black Rose, and certain other ones. That I'm gonna eventually make a video where I have all of them once I finish all the ghost rares, and I'm gonna go through every single one and go through all the ghost like foiling and be like, this is a good one, this is not. So then you can go back and find out which one looks good and which doesn't. Have like a video of it. So I'm really excited to do that at some point, because it's not even like old ghosts are better. It's like some old ghosts are better, some are not that great, and then like some of the new ones are better and some of them are not. So I'm really excited to actually figure out which ones are actually good and which ones aren't, because some of them are absolutely peak and some of them are like, okay, I see why people aren't huge fans of this.
We're looking at you, black dot, blue eyes, no matter what region you're pulled in.
Yeah, that
it kills me.
Yeah,
that card is so beautiful, and then like no matter what, you cannot find a clean copy to save.
I've never seen one that doesn't have a black dot.
At least one. Not once.
Yeah, because I think they people were making up these conspiracy theories, maybe not even making them up, but there were conspiracy theories about, they were like, we don't want there to be any perfect copies, like we're gonna ruin all of them, like, so that way they're just gonna be like, people are gonna be searching and buying more and all this different stuff, which is probably not true. But at the same time, it's like, why is the #1 card in the set not have a single clean ghost rare? It's very strange.
Konami's ruining ghost rares. There's an airline named Air Neos, and that's why they won't reprint it. Spine Gilman has taken over the game. We got to talk about the real issues.
Yeah, this podcast is really relevant to a lot of people right now.
Oh, it's welcome to the Edison Club podcast. We do have an actual good question here that I think that I've thought about for a while that I actually don't know the answer to, because I've known the answer more or less to a lot of these just because I've watched so much of your content, which is
finally a good question. I've been waiting.
So it's what is your like actual holy grail that you're like searching for? Like, what is something that you like, not necessarily a pool, just for Ruxin's personal collection? Like, what is the thing that you would want more than anything that you've been searching for?
In terms of cards that I need, I currently have 6 or is it 6? Do I have 6 or 5? I think I have 6 out of 8 PSA 10 tournament pack ultras. I'm missing Needleworm, Mech Chaser. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I'm only missing 2. Needleworm and Mech Chaser. I've had the opportunity to buy Mech Chaser. I just haven't pulled the trigger. I had an opportunity at $10,000. Like, it's too much. Can't do it. It went down to like $3,000. So luckily I didn't buy that. And I still didn't buy it. So at some point I will get my hands on one. The Needleworm is impossible. There's only like 5 or 6 of them. So I'm probably never going to get that one, but that would be one that I would really want to get at some point. If it ever happens, it'd be amazing. Other things I'm looking for is the Ghost Binder. I'm trying to complete all the Ghost rares in First Ed and Unlimited with their counterparts as ultis. Like, so back in the day, they used to do Ghost Ulti and Secret Ghost Ulti get Ultra in different sets. So I'm collecting all that, the ultis, the ultras, the ghosts, the whole line in Unlimited and First Ed. So I want to complete all that.
Really cool
stuff.
that you're doing it in Unlimited too. That's awesome.
That's actually a lot of those stuff I'm missing. It's just because like nobody is usually, it's not available a lot of the time. People aren't necessarily looking to sell it that much. You know, it's not in collections as often. So the Unlim stuff is actually a lot of like Unlimited ultras, because they're worth like 14 cents a lot of the time. So nobody's like actually selling it. So you have to actually like seek it out, like go on TCG, and then, don't even get me started on TCG. On my last investment, we bought a bunch of ghost rares for this binder and on the TCG player investment. I've returned at least 12 cards. It's been brutal. Same cards too, like return, buy another one, return. They're just in terrible condition, unfortunately. So yeah, it's actually pretty hard to find all that stuff. So that's another thing. All that, I want to complete that binder at some point. And I would like to pull wavy first ed blue eyes at some point. That'd be cool. I pulled the glossy version, not the wavy version, so that would be another cool thing. But there's other stuff, but that's just a few things that I'm looking for.
That's really cool. You want to explain real quick just the difference between glossy and wavy for those who don't know, because that's more of a, you have to be like in the game to know like what that even means. You know what I mean?
Right. It's just a the card stock is basically what we're talking about. It's just kind of a niche of first edition Legend of Blue Eyes. Technically, there are unlimited glossy and wavy prints as well, and those are actually super rare, like really, really rare, and they can go for a lot of money. Like there'll be like a wavy unlimited blue eyes and go for like $500 or whatever, just because it's super hard to find. But basically it's just how it looks. So the wavy is based on the cardstock looking like it has like waves in the cardstock, and the glossy is more like shiny, and it's probably what you would see most of the time in Legend of Blue Eyes first edition. But then when you get to the unlimited, there's like a third print that is the most common. It's kind of flat. It's not wavy, it's not glossy, it's just kind of in the middle. So that's what most people will have seen when they see unlimited, but then the first edition, they're either glossy or wavy. That's it.
Right.
So it's a little confusing. If you can't see it in front of you, you're like, what are you talking about? So it's kind of hard to show. Even when you have it in front of you, unless if it's on a video, it's kind of hard to really show it off. So once you can see it in person is really the way to be able to tell. But it doesn't matter that much. People tend to like wavy a little bit more. It's a little bit more expensive, but overall, it's still first edition.
It's kind of like whenever you get really deep into the, like, once you finally like know what it looks like, you'll never not know what it looks like. Whenever you see like a Euro print versus an NA print of a card, it's
right.
similar to that, but a little different at the same time.
Yeah. So if you've seen a lot of cards, it's easy to tell. But if you've never seen them, you're like, well, what are you talking about? These look the same to me.
Dude, speaking of Europrint, like it has gotten so popular in the past couple years. Like ever since Power of the Elements dropped and they noticed how bad the card stock was for America, Europrint has just skyrocketed. I remember going to vendors in like 2019 and being like, I need to see your whole stack of Mekk-Knight Blue Sky. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because I need to see which one's a European. Oh, we don't have those. We only have English. They are Euro English. I can tell.
Yeah, that's actually a thing for old ultis as well. There's like the Euro and the US print, and the Euro is like super textured versus the US is more flat. So a lot of people like the Euro over that because it like has a really nice look to it.
Neos Alias Euro Ulti is one of the prettiest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, a big friend of the podcast, rxen, Sackface Sizzle, he's really, really big on the maxing out his like Bayou deck because he's won like 3 Ultimate Time Wizards and stuff now. And he's been maxing it out where it's like Euro print, like highest rarity, not even just like NA print. So it's he's the one of the first ones I've seen that really has been jumping off on that recently. And because I remember back in my day, whenever like you had the 2-player Spellground, the Calculator Clace, the Player's Choice Whites, the Jansport backpack, all that. The thing back then was to have like foreign cards. Having stuff German, was a big thing. And nowadays, like German cards are less, which is cool for me because I still like the foreign cards because old Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you know what they do, and they only have like 1, maybe 2 effects. I couldn't imagine being a modern player and trying to like
oh my god, dude. No, I can't.
There's 94 words on this card. How am I supposed to translate that?
And then you're like, you need the exact wording, and you're like,
yeah. Dude, I don't know what your branded card says. It's in freaking German. Like
Bro, could you imagine the nightmare of sitting across the table from someone playing like foreign Endymion? Like every card has 75 effects and like 3 text boxes. I would just be like, look, you just tell me what they do. I'm just going to assume you're a nice person and you're not lying because I'm not.
There's definitely a strategy to do that.
Michael, you're just sitting in the corner, popping in with like this little comment there, just plotting complete evil. You're going to say the longest worded Yu-Gi-Oh card.
I think Crush Card has the longest German name. They had to extend the text box on it because it's so long. And I was
interplanetary purple Carney dragon would like to have a word with you, sir.
Bro, have you seen the German name of Illblood?
No.
All right.
It's something incredible because I know that in Fraser's podcast, one of the people changed their Patreon name to it, and it's something crazy sounding, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to find it in the meantime while you guys are going.
So I have my frog deck here, and I have Junk Synchron in German, which is Gurimpel Synchro Schneizerer. I have Deep Frog, that's Italian. It's Rana Imbrogliona. Rana Dogli Alberi is Treeborn in Italian. Substitute is Erzatz Crote. Dimensional Fissure is Dimensional Fangness. And then Phoenix Wingwind Blast is Windstorm der Phoenix Flugel.
Flugel. I love Flugel. Gotta love that word.
Yeah, even like with Substitute, which has only a handful of words on it, like the text is like it's so short compared to I don't know what like most modern cards, like there's so many words I can only imagine. Like I assume that's probably a reason. I know a lot of it is like COVID, and a lot of like collectors want the English version so they can like read the card and they have a higher, collectible value because it's something they can read and remember from their childhood. But like from a competitive standpoint, I think that's probably why it fell off, just because like the average amount of text on a Yu-Gi-Oh card that you have to actually read nowadays is there's no way you could like kind of surmise what it does. Like even Substitute is broken as like tribute a frog, special a frog. You can't do that with like I don't know the Snake Eye Ash. Explain what that does.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, I have 2 trivia questions for you, Ruxin. I've been thinking about these the whole time. Okay. Yu-Gi-Oh related, and then one Pokemon related afterwards.
Okay.
What was the first set in Europe that Pot of Greed was available in?
Magic Ruler, aka Spell Ruler.
Yes, sir. He knew immediately.
Yes, that's a big one because that's the magic, the European Spell Ruler first edition. They actually had Flame Swordsman in there as well, which was super weird.
Dude, it's so cool. I love the Delinquent Duo and the MST.
They were like, let's just put a bunch of good random cards from LOB. They're just not going to be in there. They're going to be in Spell Ruler for some reason.
Yeah, no, it was really funny when I first saw that. The second one. Okay, so you play Nuzlockes. You've had a lot of experience. I'm sure you were very well versed in the 18 types.
I wouldn't say that. I always have the type chart pulled up because I always forget. Let's find out. Barry always gets me, but I think I'm learning it better.
If a Pokemon were to have all 18 types, what would its only weakness be?
Oh gosh, that's insane.
I used to know this, but I don't remember.
Okay, wait. This is a good question. I like this. So, well, what? Okay, I got to think of.
Do you want some hints?
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind is Ghost, but I need some hints because that's probably resisted.
Okay, so if a Pokemon had all 18 types, then its only Pokemon that would be no damage effective against it would be Normal, Ghost, Dragon, Electric, Ground, Fighting, Poison, and Psychic. Those
wait, say that again?
No damage would be Normal, Ghost, Dragon, Electric, Ground, Fighting, Poison, and Psychic.
Okay.
We need to get Stick Tendo on the call.
So those can't do any damage at all. Yeah, we need Stick Tendo in here. He would definitely know this.
Oh, yeah, no. That would be really cool. Yeah, those can do no damage at all.
Okay.
Normal
you didn't say Ghost, did you?
I did.
Oh, you did say Ghost.
Normal damage would be Flying, Fire, Water, Ice, and Fairy.
Okay.
And if I give away the resists, then it's just too easy. So
you haven't said grass yet.
I did not say grass yet.
All right, I'm gonna go with grass. I'm just guessing.
No, bug and grass are resisted, but the only thing that it is 2 times a week to is rock.
Rock is a crazy offensive type. That makes sense. Or rock is really good.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's such a cool trivia question. Okay, I'm keeping that in my bag.
Oh, bro, let's go. I feel honored. That's so cool.
Yeah, I gotta keep that for somebody else. They can be like, "What? I don't know. That's insane."
That ties into
the
Edison
screenshot in the chat
because I'm a huge fan of the Edison. I call it the Rock deck, but it's really a Dark Gaia like OTK deck, and it's so good. And I was trying to have Ruxin play it on one of his wheeled Edison streams. That,
we almost did play it.
Yeah, I know, but
I think it was rock only or something, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So it didn't have the dark. It was rock only. It didn't. We were gonna do. It was earth only. Was the pie chart, and we were gonna do rocks, and then I was still working, so I couldn't be like, wait, hold on, I have many rebuttals on why this is wrong. But
dude, there was a lot of directions to go with that one. So it was like different people were pulling me different directions. I'm like, what should we do? I think what we end up on? X Sabers, I think. That was actually a fun deck.
Saber,
That was actually
It
a fun
was.
deck.
There's no better pleasure than swinging Dark Gaia into a face down Raikou and hitting for 5,400 damage and not getting popped.
That's just sad because Raikou is normally so good, but right then you just feel helpless. You're like, no.
Yeah,
this
you're
ain't
just
gonna
like,
work."
oh, thank God, there's not an honest too.
Yeah.
With a specific type.
The thing with that deck is whenever they go to activate Vayu, they'll go activate Vayu, and you go chain release from stone to special summon your Dyna that's removed from play. And so what happens is the Vayu tries to resolve as much as possible, and since Dyna doesn't negate the summons, it just prevents special summoning. They will still remove the Vayu and the Sirocco, so they lose that resource, and then they don't get their arm wing. But now you're sitting there with a Dyna, and it's just the dread in the people's face when that happens. They're like,
Wow.
"Oh no!"
That's
Alright, so-
brutal.
Mike did some searching, and the French ill blood is translated to putrid blood, the guardian of limbo.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There you go.
So I was
That's
gonna
pretty
say,
awesome.
before we wrap this up, there's one more, Mike. Have you ever seen what tardy orc is in French?
Yes, I know the legend that is French tardy orc.
Oh no!
Ruxin, do you know?
I do not know.
Are we gonna get demonetized, Mike?
Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Or in the Discord chat.
Are we? Also, are we even monetized? Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've been monetized. Give me some credit.
I'm about to say we're definitely monetized. Yeah, put it in the chat.
Yeah, I want to
This is
see
a
it.
fun
I
one.
want to see it, but you know, it might be a little risky, is what it sounds like. So
That looks
Are we?
so cool,
He's
dude.
typing. He's typing. We got it.
Just saying Putrid, like Ill Blood's old art, like they just don't make Yu-Gi-Oh cards like that anymore. I love that old like
Wait,
monsters
Mike,
that
are you?
Oh no, I have
Oh.
seen this. I have seen this.
Yeah, you
It
have
was in
seen it.
somebody's binder. I was recording at I think a YCS or something, and somebody had it in their binder, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say that one. Then I just kept going.
Yeah, like the first time I saw that, I thought it was edited. So I went and checked myself. I was like, oh, like okay.
Something going on.
It's crazy.
Here,
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Like I couldn't believe that was on a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Like I remember when I was a kid, I had it's not misprinted. It was like something with a translation. It's Trial of Hell, which was changed to like Trial of Nightmare or something later.
Expensive. Yeah, it's an expensive card.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid and I saw that, I was like, Mom, look at this card. It has a bad word on it.
I never would have showed my mom. She'd be like, no more Yu-Gi-Oh! For
I
you.
know. I'm surprised my mom wasn't like that.
Listen, I talked about this on the last podcast. I had a pastor for a grandmother, and she made me cut in half all my cards that weren't cute and cuddly. She was like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the devil.
Wait. She let you keep some of them? She was like, yeah, that looks cute. You can keep that one.
Okay, all right. For the first time that I ever appeared on this channel, we're going straight back. She let me keep Happy Lover.
Hey, that's like a $30 comment now.
I know.
Wait, that's the story of why you love Happy Lover?
She knew.
No, I love Happy Lover because of Belowski from GX.
Oh, okay.
Happy Lover in attack mode, dude. And I activate the
Dude, that guy's hilarious.
Wave tactics.
Legendary episode.
Segue to our perfect. This can segue perfectly to our closing thought, because the last thing I wanted to bring up was just the legendary, infamous, most powerful card in all of Yu-Gi-Oh, the Pequeño Moth. And
of course.
How did that become the icon staple that is so synonymous with you, Ruxin?
How did it happen? That's a great question. I'm not even sure. Originally, we used to open a lot of Portuguese Metal Raiders first edition boxes. Yeah, so they used to be cheap. Like I had this one random source that would just get a case of them back in 2019 probably, and I'd get them at under $50 a box. So I would open a bunch of them because they weren't that expensive. And then the Petite Moth is Pequeño Moth in Portuguese. It's probably not even how you say it, but that's how I've always said it. And since then, it just kind of grew in legend, like it wasn't really that, it just kind of said it all the time. Then people were like, what does that mean? And I just stopped explaining it because it was like, I'm not going to explain it every time. And then people were like, what does it mean? What does it mean? And then, of course, Petite Moth is now getting a QCR in Stampede, which people weren't super happy about, or at least
it's your influence. It's your influence. It's not Weevil at all. It's you. It's you.
Yeah, it's all me. And Weevil doesn't even matter apparently. So,
I tell you the exact second, as soon as I saw that, within like 30 seconds, I already had sent Ruxin a DM. I said, "Yo, this is happening," and I sent it to you, which I'm sure
I got tagged probably 100 times minimum about people sending it to me and stuff. They're like, it's happening. The Petite moth is getting, because they did it on the first reveal. They were like, we're revealing 9 of the like 5 million cards in this set. One of them is Petite moth. So people were like, what? It's insane.
So this will be perfect because, and then the next one after that, it'll be, you know, the cousin moth, and then finally the grande moth.
Right. Yeah, no, they're all going to be in this set. They're going to put all of them in there. Yeah, it's going to be great. Perfectly ultimate, you know, throw them all in.
Everything.
Awesome. I can't wait. Well, I think that's probably about our hour mark now, isn't it, Mike?
Yep, actually a little over, which is always, you know, that's completely fine. So
I assume it would go over.
Yeah.
The way we are. And I've been looking forward to this for so long. Like, I've been such a fan of you, Ruxin, just from the start of your content to like in passing finding it, where I was like, oh, this is kind of cool in the background. Then I kind of got to a point where I just always watch it, and then you got to a point where you upload it every single day at noon on the dot, and I'm like, okay. And then I kind of just always started jumping into the streams and then just being actually in the chatting, and I chat with a lot of different, you know, content creators. But you've always just been so nice, so humble, and just always positive, always looking for, you know, just different ways to grow the community, and the amount of hard work you put in to see, like, I saw how far, like, when it first started, just like it was like you and like a phone, basically, seemed like to almost 300,000 subscribers. Like, it's such a cool journey to see that and just be a small part of it as one of many throughout so long of it. It's such a pleasure having you, and I'm so excited you agreed to do this, and I can't wait to see what the future has for you, man.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And of course I was going to join it. I mean, as soon as you asked me, I was like, I got to get on there for Rage Peacock. I mean, he's been around so long. So I was definitely going to do it. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm glad you've been around so long. I'm glad I've been around so long. So
dude, I was literally saying, like, I've been looking forward to this for a hot minute. And I first met you at Collecticon about 2 years ago in Charlotte. You were at a booth with my friend Anthony Gezzi.
Yes, I love Gezzi.
Yeah. Dude, Gezzi's great. He's awesome. Those sleeves that he is doing are out of this world, and they're still underground, man. They're still like, there's very few people who are like using them yet. But God, I hope they get up there because they're so sick. They bring me right back to 2004. Like,
I think they're gonna catch them fire because they picked it up a little bit now that Joseph and Joseph has been getting some, but I think Gage has been posting about them and stuff. I mean, they're amazing because like those old ones, they looked so good, but they were so crappy. So just to have them like make them functional and like look really good, he's doing a good job. So I'm really pumped for people to like see those because they're really beautiful in person.
Dude, yeah, no, he gave me a sample pack at Nats 2023 of the blue ones when all he had with the blue ones, and I was just like, this is going to be ridiculous when this happens. When this takes off, it's going to be everywhere, and I'm just so
I think he has almost to the end of his blue ones finally. Like he bought a bunch of them and he's finally sold all of them. And I personally like the green ones the best, but those are much newer. But the blue ones, he had so many of those and they finally sold out. So it's pretty cool because people are like, man, these are so cool, you know?
Yeah. Dude, but no, you've really always been like the nicest person whenever I've met you. My friend came up to you at the last YCS and said he came up to you and like he talked to you and was like, hey, I'm playing Dark Magician Quick Draw today. And you didn't really know what to say to that, but like you just patted it on the back and you were like, good luck, bro. I hope it works out for you.
I was like, Dark Magician, that didn't sound very good, but okay.
Go off, King.
I was like, you do your thing, man. I believe in you.
You will open Dark Griffer, I promise.
yeah. It's gonna work out. It's gonna work out. Just believe in the heart of the cards. I've been watching the anime again, so I'm believing in the heart of the cards even more.
There you go.
I'm sad that it's taken off Hulu. They took it off Hulu a couple days ago, and I'm very, very upset.
Did they? I just watched it.
Yeah, no. So they took off everything but season 1 so far, I believe.
Wait, I just watched season 2, episode 1 earlier, like today.
Like earlier today?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
It might be back. It might be back on.
It might be back. Oh my god! People fucking.
Because I know Netflix only has one season. Because I finished the first season today, and I'm like, okay, I got to go to Hulu, and I went on there, and I watched the first episode.
The other day, and it was like, oh, Yu-Gi-Oh's finally leaving. Fans are upset, and I'm like, oh,
Ethan's out here spreading false information. You're literally being French tardy orc right now.
Dude, I'm sorry, but I'm the one who started the false info about Air Neos. You found me out. I'm so sorry.
He's like, that was my airline. I was trying to boost sales, get people to fly,
He's gonna start using my phrase, Ethan, to say, in my defense, I'm really dumb. So he's gonna
No, dude, it's okay. Maybe I am Mitchell Slaughter. Maybe I'm just fucking duping everybody and just like pulling one over on every single person.
Everything starts to make sense the older that you get.
I'm gonna get so much heat for that. You have no idea.
You're gonna disappear for a while.
No dry views, it'll be fine. But I guess that can we can wrap it up there, guys. Like I said, always once again, thanks so much, Ruxin. Let everyone any shout outs you want to give or anything you want to say, just some closing thoughts to let everyone know where to find you, what to be looking forward to next for you.
Well, you can find me on YouTube, Ruxin34, Twitter, TikTok, all that different stuff. And make sure you guys subscribe right now to this podcast because it's awesome. They're getting great guests like me. I mean, I don't know. Okay, maybe not me. Maybe Joseph. He was probably a lot cooler. But, so make sure you guys follow him for some more great
That's perfect. They can leave us some comments. I've heard YouTube has this comment section where you can leave us a comment and then we can read them and then we can try to make that happen in a future episode. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and think about it. They might even bring up your comment in a future episode. So if you want to be in there, who knows? You might want to leave a comment right now.
And hey, I started out being in the comments and now I'm the co-host. So let's see, it comes full circle.
I started out as a Lightsworn fan, and now I'm also a co-host. So here we are.
Exactly.
Also, I think this needed to happen because I really thought that was off Hulu, and now I went and checked and it's there. So thanks, Ruxin. I very much appreciate it.
Yes, I just saved you. You were going to be so sad, and now you have Yu-Gi-Oh back. So I'm glad I could help.
You become a multiple-time YCS champion, ban list reaction expert by just not
watching the anime. I mean, duh. You got to watch the anime. They teach you how to play in there. I don't know if you guys know that.
That's where I learned all of my best moves.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Ruxin, once again, thank you so much for sitting down here with us tonight.
Of course.
And guys,
glad to be here. Thank you guys for inviting me again.
Of course. And we do accept fan mail. You can reach out to us at TheEdisonClubFanmail@gmail.com. That email address is also in all the video descriptions. So send us a listener letter, some fan mail. We always enjoy reading them on the show. We haven't gotten any in a while. You guys have been slacking. So please send us some. We really enjoy it. So that's all we have for you guys tonight. Thank you guys for listening. This is Mike from the Edison Club signing out until the next one.
Hamster Ryko Caius. I go check the pairings. I'm like, don't know who this guy is. Hamster Ryko Caius, Hamster Ryko Caius. 2-0 every round, man, and I ain't even trying. It's just Hamster Ryko Caius, Hamster Ryko Caius, Hamster Ryko Caius.